Beyoncé has perfected the art of intrigue for the past 20 years, allowing her music, images, and performances to speak for themselves. However, beneath that diamond-polished facade, truthful lies. The Hive seldom talks about some of Beyoncé's commercial decisions. They were unable to even launch on the hot Catastrophe 100. The Queen has experimented in a number of fields outside of music, and while some experienced momentary peaks, others quietly faded away or disappeared inexplicably. In today's video, we'll be talking about the aspect of Beyoncé's career that she doesn't want the Beehive to be aware of. Beyoncé's mother, Tacky Tina, helped her make an ambitious transition from music to fashion in 2004 with the launch of her apparel line, House of Deréon. Oh dear, Tina Knowles. The fashion line was named after Beyoncé's grandmother, Agnes Deréon. The line was sure to combine Beyoncé and Tina's Beyond Production, LLC, a company founded by Beyoncé and Tina, owns cutting-edge fashion with heartfelt elegance. It included ready-to-wear garments that combined modern trends with old influences, especially those from the 1940s and 1970s. It appeared to be a fantastic plan, particularly given that Tina had created a lot of Destiny's Child's clothing. She undoubtedly had a knack for fashion. What could possibly go wrong then? Celebrity endorsements, high-profile runway presentations, and retail collaborations with Bloomingdale's were all part of the early rollout. Beyoncé also appeared in the brand's Spring 2009 campaign, which was shot in Bermuda. The brand's initial year forecasts were in the tens of millions, and after a few years, a junior line named Deréon was introduced, according to the New York Times. However, critics were not convinced from the very beginning. Two of the issues raised were an unclear brand identity and inconsistent low-quality products. Reviews frequently referred to the items as cheap, overly complicated, and incorrect. Beyoncé's picture was branded. Others observed that the absence of a branding strategy had a negative impact on its market performance, while some reprimanded the company for having difficulty articulating its target market. By 2010, House of Deréon had silently left the United States and was only available in European specialty and department shops. 2 years later, however, because of decreasing European sales, the company re-entered the U.S. market. Women's Wear Daily reported that numerous workers had their contracts ended, and British Vogue announced that the company's chief executive officer, Philip Davis, had departed. House of Deréon swiftly followed suit after the junior line was terminated. Beyoncé never spoke out about its death in public, but fashion insiders told The Guardian that the brand's demise was due to attempting to capitalize on too many trends at once instead of developing a distinctive look. It's evident that having famous people associated with your brand might help you get into shops, but it doesn't guarantee that customers will buy without their credit cards. Beyoncé introduced her first perfume, Heat, in 2010 as part of a licensing agreement. Some reports suggested that the perfume garnered $400 million worldwide shortly after its release. It was also recognized as the top-selling celebrity perfume brand in the world. Further releases such as Heat Rush, Pulse, and Midnight Heat were unable to replicate the original figures, and Heat lost its warmth as the fragrance market became more saturated with celebrity senses. A clear indication that Beyoncé's perfume line had lost its retail momentum was the heavy discounting of the products at drugstores by 2013. While subtly putting Heat to the back burner, even the sales reports from the licensing business started to concentrate on other celebrity collaborations. Beyoncé joined forces with her trainer Marco Borges in February 2019 to launch 22 Days Nutrition, an organic, vegan, gluten-free, soy-free meal delivery service.
We're gonna go 100% plant-based from now through Coachella.
I'm back on the stage after giving birth to twins. I was a woman that felt like my body was not mine.
We know the power of vegetables, we know the power of plants, we know the power of foods that are unprocessed and as close to nature as possible.
The notion first rode the wave of the clean eating fad, but there was reaction from all over the world. The vegan diet strategy might be harmful, according to a spokesperson for the British Association for Nutrition and Lifestyle Medicine. Since the caloric intake was insufficient, it could result in nutritional deficiencies. the program had silently transformed into a product-based website, full with a meal planning tool by the end of 2016 when media coverage had waned. The subscription meal service, which was the initial draw, has since been discontinued. Beyoncé's initial significant move into athleisure. In 2016, Ivy Park debuted as a 50-50 joint venture with Sir Philip Green, the owner of Topshop. The first collection was a huge success, selling out in hours at major stores. However, in 2018, accusations of sexual harassment and racial abuse against Sir Philip led Beyoncé to purchase his 50% ownership in the company. Although this was portrayed as a display of authority, industry insiders informed Business of Fashion that the controversy had already damaged Ivy Park's commercial connections. She brought back Ivy Park under Adidas in the beginning of 2020. The first drops sold out right away, but sales decreased as the novelty wore off. According to a Wall Street Journal article from 2023, Ivy Park's sales were down by over 50% from the previous year, bringing in around $40 million, which was much lower than Adidas's forecast of $250 million. Due to artistic disagreements and disappointing sales, Ivy Park and Adidas decided to end their collaboration in March 2023. We cannot, of course, overlook the failure of Parkwood Entertainment as a commercial endeavor. Originally established in 2008 as a production firm, the firm partnered with Sony Music and TriStar Pictures to create the 2008 motion picture Cadillac Records. Beyoncé plays the main character, Etta James, in the movie. She did, however, win a Grammy for her performance of Edna's song. Finally, the movie's overall box office performance was disappointing. The movie, which cost $12 million to produce, only made about $9 million in sales worldwide, according to BoxOfficeMojo.com. Parkwood attempted to make another movie the following year, starring Beyoncé and Idris Elba, named Obsessed. This time, Parkwood scored a grand slam, and despite a $20 million budget, the movie earned over $70 million worldwide. Sadly, the comments were harsh, and one writer for Ringer.com even called Beyoncé a terrible actress. From that point, Parkwood made the decision to grow its business by establishing itself as an imprint record company under Columbia Records and a management company. To assist her, Beyoncé enlisted the help of a group of digital media specialists, visual directors, creative directors, brand managers, a general manager, and support staff. Redefine where she belongs in popular culture. She handled herself through Parkwood and started publishing her studio albums and TV specials after firing her father in 2011, following accusations that he was stealing money from her. She signed a number of musicians, such sisters Chloe and Halle Bailey. The underwhelming sales of Chloe's first album In Pieces drew criticism for Beyoncé in 2023. Beyoncé gave the album very little promotion. She didn't tweet or post anything about it on Instagram. Congratulations. The album, which only sold 10,000 copies during its first week, debuted at position 119 on the U.S. Billboard charts. The conjecture quickly became muddled on Twitter and TikTok. By allowing Chloe's debut album to fail due to the lack of exposure that only Beyoncé could have given, some followers blamed Beyoncé for subtly ruining Chloe's career. Some people claimed that Chloe took the brunt of the unfavorable reviews and poor sales on purpose in order to maintain the purity of her own brand by distancing herself from Beyoncé. Regardless of whether it was a deliberate commercial choice or a genuine lack of interest, the story developed a life of its own, and it was apparent to the majority of the time the mentor let his own protege perish. And speaking of Halle, Polo Tink Tink has not yet released a first studio album. One of the main issues is that Beyoncé manages Parkwood in the same way she manages her personal brand, which is tightly managed, extremely secretive, and completely focused on her own agenda and priorities. In order to succeed in a competitive environment, up-and-coming artists must have ongoing exposure, media interaction, and creative drive. Rarely is there consistent promotion of the work of Parkwood artists. According to Chloe and Halle, the majority of Beyoncé's advice is delivered via correspondence, which seems more like passive mentorship and more akin to a pen-pal relationship. In other words, she's staying away from her artist's work. You'd think they had a restraining order against her. Another issue is that Beyoncé's own mystery and perfectionism might make the musicians on her label feel compelled to live up to her standards, without promoting individuality and distinct branding, but rather her resources and her platform. Parkwood occasionally appears to be attempting to transform its artists into tiny replicas of Beyoncé, which diminishes their individual creative expression. These artists are seldom seen by the general public. Thorough exploration of individual personalities or creative ideas that feels genuine and free from the influence of their mentor. Ultimately, becoming a fantastic artist does not guarantee that one will be a successful label head. Beyoncé's success has always been attributed to her capacity to manage her narrative and act independently. Parkwood's flaws indicate that she hasn't created a system that would enable other artists to do the same. In order to grow without those factors, a label must be willing to let artists take risks, even fail in front of the public, and must invest consistently and market effectively. Beyoncé's name can help her signee get through barriers, but it hasn't been able to maintain those openings long enough for those performers. All of the tomfoolery damages the Parkwood's brand in order for it to really flourish. Getting signed to Beyoncé's label should be a dream situation with immediate industry legitimacy, access to top-tier producers, and the backing of one of the world's greatest artists, the most well-known figures in the field of music. The dream began to resemble a nightmare after seeing how Chloe's debut was handled. Beyoncé's air of mystery is a component of her enchantment when it comes to music. One of the few remaining genuine pop artists, she has the ability to vanish for months at a time before reappearing out of nowhere and causing a global standstill. Her infrequent interviews, restricted public appearances, and well-planned album releases make her position as an unattainable symbol stronger by establishing a feeling of magnificence. People speculate more the less she speaks, and in that world, hypothesis and hype are equivalent. However, the results might be considerably less enchanting when the same strategy is used to business, particularly in customer-facing sectors like fashion, beauty, or lifestyle goods. Customers seek availability in business. They seek the impression that they are investing in a way of life. Because the founders are visibly engaged, constantly talking to, and understanding of companies like Rihanna's Fenty and Kim Kardashian's Skims, they are successful. Their audience and consistently demonstrating their use of the goods in real life. On the other hand, Beyoncé seldom allows people behind the scenes, and that lack of intimacy might make her goods seem impersonal or neglected after the fanfare of the debut subsides. The notion that a brand will be sustained forever only by its name recognition is another issue. Despite Beyoncé's huge popularity, no celebrity may expect that their fame alone will generate customer loyalty. Beyoncé's enterprises sometimes appear to be based on the assumption that the first wave will be sufficient to support them, rather than on a firm commitment to the gradual continuing process of establishing a customer base. Her rivals have also been able to bridge a gap in relatability. When Kim Kardashian casually promotes Skims in a dressing room, or Rihanna posts a barefaced selfie using Fenty skin, video viewers are able to put themselves in the same position. The aspirational image that Beyoncé portrays frequently conflicts with the practical reality of the goods she markets. Without moments that humanize her product, few people really think she's wearing an Ivy Park tracksuit while doing errands. Use. The products seem more like collectibles than needs. No matter what, Beyoncé's name will continue to captivate audiences, break streaming services, and cause stadiums to erupt in excitement. However, her career in the commercial sector demonstrates a quieter truth time and time again. Until it isn't, the excitement is irresistible, the marketing is flawless, and the launches are spectacular. The products disappear as if they never existed, the collaborations break up, and the lights go out. It doesn't diminish her impact or affect her legacy as an artist, but it does demonstrate that even the most potent brand in the industry may be vulnerable. Outside the arena, longevity cannot be assured. Just like in real life, star power will get you noticed in the business world, but it's your plan, flexibility, and consistent implementation that will keep you on top. And that's a stage that Beyoncé hasn't really mastered yet. Please let us know if you like this video in the comments section below, and thank you for watching InsiderUS.